Electric vehicles are becoming more and more intelligent and personalized. So is driver data still safe?
So these vehicles, which are very much connected and have a lot of sensors and collect a lot of personal data, right? Because actually data about the driver will also be personal data. So essentially the GDPR will always apply to that processing of personal data, which means that, okay, so suddenly you can't do whatever you want with those sensor data. Sometimes you need consent from the driver actually to collect those data. And for sharing those data, it could be even more tricky, especially if you want to send those data overseas. What companies sometimes don't think about is, okay, what if the driver then wants to have access to the personal data or delete the personal data or port the personal data to a different vehicle from a different manufacturer? Like, do they actually have the systems in place to deal with the exercise of their rights? And sometimes we see in practice that not all manufacturers have good systems for this. So it actually means that you need to be very mindful of how you use the data, because it is actually data about the people driving, right? So it's their data and you need to be respectful of that. You can imagine, and there are many uses for this. So let's say you have a car manufacturer collects data about the driver, and then let's say they want to cooperate with an insurance company. And so they share all the driver data with the insurance company. And then the insurance company will say, okay, these people are good drivers. These people drive too fast or they brake too quickly, and we don't want to insure them, or they need to pay a higher premium. So when the data is shared, it can actually affect people in unexpected ways, right? Or what if they share it with the authorities?
Will international data protection standards be more dispersed or used at the level of political management?
What an excellent question. I think it's a bit of both. So, for example, what we are seeing right now in the advertising industry is that you have a lot of companies that are kind of monitoring what we're doing online, and then they are just giving away the data, selling the data. And what if the people receiving those data is a country that we don't have a cooperation with? What if it's a country that doesn't, necessarily support us, or doesn't, have our best interest in mind? So it is actually an issue from a security point of view. But you're very right in pointing out that data protection could also be misused in a way, and say that, oh, we have this strict data protection law, but it's not really about protecting privacy. It's about ensuring that no one gets our data because we want them for ourselves. So it's about finding that balance. But what I would say is that we are making some progress in terms of, so for example, EU, we have our laws, right? But we can actually approve other countries as being adequate, like we did with Israel. We have also done that with, for example, Japan and South Korea, and also, several countries in Latin America. And essentially what we're saying is that, okay, you have different laws and you also have government access to data, et cetera, but we still think that it's more or less the same, on the same level, and it's proportionate, it's necessary. So that way we can actually exchange data, even though we have different rules. Like we can send data from Europe to New Zealand, even though it's on the other side of the world. And there are more and more countries gaining that approval. We call it adequacy decision. So actually, I feel like right now, data sharing is increasing. And we're saying that, okay, we won't share data with you if there are security concerns. But if your authority is operating in a way that's transparent and proportionate, then okay, you can actually have our data, even though there may be issues. So yes, it really depends. I think you need to look at each and every country individually, but it is definitely going in the right direction.